Hello everybody, and welcome to what's going to be part 1 of my Path of Exile guide. This one's probably going to have the most individual information in it, just because I've decided part 1 should be about the resources that are available to you guys out of the gate, and things that you should maybe try having a look at if you're feeling a little bit confused. There is a lot of help available for you outside of the game. It's unfortunate that it doesn't seem to mention much of it within the game, but I think that's probably because not a lot of it is done by the actual Path of Exile team, even though a lot of it does interact with it directly, as I'm going to show you here. In any case, I feel like the first and most important thing we should be talking about is a filter. This is simply going to speed up your ability to go through the game and progress through the areas without getting distracted by all of the gear on the floor. I'm going to demonstrate this in a second, but effectively, come over to this website just here. All of these websites that we end up using here, I'm going to link in the description for you guys. And if I happen to miss anything, I know some of my subscribers are probably going to say that I have. Just make sure you mention it in the comments. This is obviously going to be a practice when Path of Exile 2 comes out. So, you know, if there's something better that I could put in, if you think this video should be more split up, anything like that, just let me know in the comments. I'll be interested in your guys' input. So, let's look at filters then. So first up, when you're running around, you're killing stuff. I'm going to kind of give you guys a bit of a show with it in a second once we get into the game. You'll notice obviously just loads of crap piles up all over the place, and it's difficult to know sometimes what to pick up. So what I recommend is coming over to the filters. You can pick whichever one you want. I highly recommend semi-strict when you're first starting out. Regular's okay. It will get rid of some of the actual crap. But you're still going to see a lot of stuff that's just not useful to you. I've been running on semi-strict, and that's been perfectly fine. And then once you kind of get into the later areas of the game, so essentially once you've finished all 10 acts of the game, you may want to switch to strict. And this just kind of reduces the amount of times you're going to be going back to shops to sell for scraps, essentially. This game doesn't have gold, doesn't have a hard currency. There is a currency that tends to be used, which is Chaos Orbs, but you're not going to get those out of just regular gear and selling it in the shops. So I would recommend setting this to semi-strict. You guys can have a play around with this stuff. I don't feel like it's required. This effectively just changes the color scheme of the items that are dropping, and this can just change how certain things are modified. That's entirely up to you guys. Obviously, you can go ahead and sign in with your Path of Exile account. I don't know if this works on PlayStation or not. So you guys, if you are on console and this does or doesn't work, please let me know. So just don't know. But signing in with your PC here, I'll just set that back to strict. And then you can go ahead and you can change loads of other stuff as well. You can have certain vendor recipes. So for those of you that don't know, there are recipes within the game that can be sold to a merchant for specific items. I'm not great at it. That's something I should have done a link to. There's one thing I could have improved already. But I don't really use much of this. There's loads of stuff here that you can use for later. But with strict or semi-strict on, you can't really go very wrong. And so you can just go ahead and download it. Obviously, if you've signed in like I have, you can just sync it with Path of Exile. You can name your filter. So I'm going to call this strict. I've already done one. I haven't actually used it yet though. So I'm going to overwrite this, and then I can just apply it. So with that done then, what I can do is I can go into game. Let me see if I can demonstrate this in full-on action. So if you come over to UI, in your options menu come down, you'll see that you have your filter, STD filter. I could have named that better, couldn't I? So if I put no filter on here, I'm going to save that. I'm just going to kill some enemies just so you guys can kind of see the difference here. Let's get a few things. I don't have my zombies up, you can tell, right? This character's supposed to be a summoner. I didn't prepare before this. We're all good now though. So obviously what you guys can see all over the floor right now is just loads of stuff, right? Some of it looks useful, some of it doesn't look useful. Things like orbs of transmutation, armor scraps, and this kind of stuff are useful. They're going to be handy for crafting and stuff. But then you get all this and you just don't really know, especially when you've already got decent gear on that you're kind of happy with. So it's a good idea. I don't know if it's actually going to work while there's stuff already on the ground, but we'll soon see. We can come here into strict and we can go ahead and apply that. And as you can see, that makes it so that it is much clearer, and now it says there's a potential this one actually might be better than what yours is, and that's probably because it's got a good item level. Item level 69 looks not too bad, so I might pick that up. Now, if you want to see the rest of the items, you'll need to press Alt, and they'll just be brought up in a lesser fashion for you. So if you feel like you're missing out on something, you can go ahead and have a look. But that's just going to keep your UI clearer. And even in the earlier game, it seems to keep pretty good track of you know, what kind of gear we're in, what level you are, and what kind of stuff you should be picking up. So I can't recommend having a filter enough. It's just going to help you a lot in terms of just getting something equipped on your character and feeling like you're doing okay. So with filters spoken about, I feel like that's pretty good. Next up, let's talk about the character and builds. I feel like this is something we can talk about for a long time, but I'm going to try not to. What I'm going to recommend you do is, first of all, is download Path of Building. I always just use the exe. It updates itself, so you can't really get an outdated one. Again, links for all of this will be in the description. So I should have it loaded up already. So let me go ahead and make a new one here, just so it looks all nice and fresh. Let's say we're going to go ahead and import something in a second. So Path of Building gives you a nice overview of all of the skills on the skill tree. Obviously, in the game, press P, and this is what you're faced with. This is Ascension. I'm going to talk about that later in the series. I'm not going to be dealing with this in this specific video, but they're essentially a path that you pick later on in the game, so don't worry too much about it, but you probably will be picking one when you are making your build. Just bear that in mind when you happen to go through the labyrinth. But as you can see, characters start all around the map, all around the passive tree, but I find it easier to see on here because you can zoom way further out. And you can essentially pick which of the characters you're going to start as, and that's going to sort that out for you. And then the way to use this, so I actually find this more convenient than the normal one for plotting routes and stuff. So let's say my character right now, I really like using energy shields, so I've gone like this and across here, right? I'm also using a lot of minions, so I might have come down here, but I decided I was going to wait for my minion damage for later. There's some minion stuff over here. But you're like, whoa, how do you know where all that is? Well, here's how you know where stuff is. You go into the search, you go into this little search bar, and I type in things like minion, and I can go ahead and I can find minion damage, or I can find some minion life. I could also, you know, if I like energy shield, I could also go ahead and put in their energy shield. And that's going to highlight the nodes that are important to me, which is great, right? Let's say, it's also important to know that if you wanting to do followers, like a summoner type build, which is what I really enjoy, you are going to want to put in minion. It's not follower, it's not zombie does kind of work, I suppose. Zombie does come in some places. I'm totally typing this wrong. Energy minion. You can put zombie in, but not much is going to come up. There's only in a few places. There are other types of minions as well. There are such things as golems. Golems are actually pretty good, particularly if you're going to do a minion build, in my opinion. You are going to want at least two, just because one of them can buff the strength of the minions itself, which is the carrying golem, and one of them can... I'm talking too specifically about builds here, sorry about that, guys. Right, so let's pull this out. So other ways in which you can operate this is that, obviously, I can do like this, I can do all this, go over here. But something that you can't do in the normal one is look at kind of where the path is going to be. So let's say I'm a witch, and I've decided I want Chaos Inoculation right at the beginning. This would be suicidal, don't do this, but I can press this button right here, and it's going to show me the shortest path. And the reason I would say that's useful is I can then go, well, I'm going Chaos Inoculation, so I want some energy shield, so I'm going to go in and put shield in, and I'm going to see what would make sense along the way to Chaos Inoculation, right? So I can see that there's this here, that gives me a bonus for having shield. I don't think anybody ever uses that. You got some extra energy shield down here and that kind of stuff. And this works for every build. The thing that I need to say at this point is each character that you create needs to have a focus. One of the most daunting things about Path of Exile is that there's such a huge amount of choice, and it's very difficult to narrow down what you actually want to use. And even like, so let's have a look at the character here, right? So looking at this is how you actually get your abilities. So if I want to raise, let's say I want to raise Summon Skeletons, right, which is my main attack skill. I have to equip this in here. Where did I put it? I don't even know where I put it. Raging Summon Spirit, right? That's actually in my weapon. This is how you equip your skills. So if I take that out of my weapon, I don't have that skill anymore. Now, what you see is that we have all of these links. This is obviously kind of rare to get, but as I highlight these, you can see that some of them highlight up, and that means that they're actually affecting each other. So with that in mind then, you can only have a maximum of 2 6-link items. So there's a limited amount of skills that you can really lean into really powerfully. And obviously doing this twice means that I've got 2 less powerful skills rather than 1 ultra powerful skill, because usually what you'd do is you'd have 1-handed weapon and a shield, and you'd have all of this stuff kind of support the main skill. So what you'll find a lot of the time is people will advise you to try and bank on a singular skill. I don't think that has to be true. You can succeed at the end of the game, and you can keep on moving forward without having to be like a cookie cutter kind of guy. But the advice is accurate. So with that spoken about then, let's go back to our Path of Exile just so I can explain the rest of the stuff that we have here. There are a lot of tools in here that you can use just to help yourself out. So in addition to being able to plot our course around here, and look at the ascendancies as well, this is probably one of the best things. You can actually look at the ascendancies before trying to take one. And this actually gives you a preview as to how the classes are going to end up. So you can go ahead and look at the Templar and what it's going to evolve into, or you can look at the Ranger or whatever else that you want to have a look at. So outside of that then, we can move across to skills. In here, you can look at the skills. It'll give you an idea. So if you click on one, it's a shame it doesn't give you a better tooltip. But you can click on one, and it's going to tell you what it does. I wouldn't advise this as a way to... Someone's trying to talk to me. As a way to check what every skill in the game does, because there are just too many, and I don't think it's quick enough. You'd be much better off going to the actual wiki for that. I probably could have brought something like that up, but yeah, so that's just not a bad way. This also lets you add more skills in, so I could do something like this. Right, and this kind of simulates the idea of having a skill with attached gems and stuff. There's probably going to be a lot of people wrecking their brains at mine specifically, because I plugged the mine way different to a lot of people. A lot of people will usually have a single attack skill with 5 supports on it, whereas I've decided, because I want to be a mass summoner, I've got one with Race Spectres and Zombies on, or I'm going to have, and then one with Summon Spirits and Skeletons. So I kind of have temporary summons, and then my permanent summons, and they're going to get 4 supports each. Just kind of how I wanted to do it. This game, you can do whatever you want in this game. I don't feel like you always have to be doing what is absolutely best all of the time. Then, as well as that as well, you have the opportunity to add items and stuff to your build, so you can go ahead and have an idea as to kind of how your stats are going to look. The other good thing about this as well is, so for example, I can get just a standard bow. This doesn't even have anything in the way of stats on it, so it's kind of nice to be able to just see what the average might be. And in addition to that, it's also going to give you an idea as to the stats you're going to need when you want to equip that weapon. So you can see I've got 14 dexterity. It lets me put it on so I can see what my helper's going to be like. It's also going to tell me that I need this much dexterity, so I just need to keep an eye out for that. I don't really play around with these things very much. Calcs, look at that mess. I don't know. Somebody very, very intelligent, I'm sure, can explain this down below in the comments. This just isn't for me. Very similar here as well. Good. I'm sure this is like kind of what you're going to be doing as you're attacking, just to kind of get the calculations correct in here, which is probably what a lot of this is. I've never used notes in my life. The only other thing for me to talk about, I think, is importing and exporting builds. Now, I am going to leave you guys a build for each base character. Obviously, it's going to include an ascension down in the description as well, and they should be in Pastebin format. So to put a Pastebin format in, so if it's a Pastebin code, you just press that. Nope, that's not it. I guess I've got a code instead right now. Do I have a code? Yeah, I have a code. So I'm going to show you guys the difference between that in a second. And I'm not going to show you Pastebin because I took it off my Discord because I'm an idiot. But effectively, there's going to be 2 different codes for this. I totally made that wrong. But we're going to run with it now because I've got too far to start again. So effectively, if you get a build from Pastebin, you're going to go import Pastebin, you're going to paste it in there. Or if you get a direct code, I'm going to show you where you're likely to get these from in a second. You paste it in here, and it's going to say to import. Okay, this is imported a random Trickster from somewhere. I don't know where I got this. Well, I do know where I got this from, but we didn't really need it. So this is going to give you an idea as to kind of what someone else's build might look like. Now, where did I get this from, you might ask? So in my opinion, a good thing to do, if you are confused about what you want to do, is to come here. So I'm going to refresh this page for a second. Okay, so here we have what is called Poe Dot Ninja. Again, link in the description. I'm not getting sponsored for any of this, by the way, guys. Yeah, and all this is completely free to do. And what I recommend doing here is, because you're not going to have a clue, really, in my opinion, about what a lot of these characters are, what a lot of these skills are, Something you are going to have an idea, though, is what weapons are. So I would pick a weapon that you want to go with. I mean, I always end up doing wand or staff, so let's go. I decide I want to use a bow. The good thing is, now what you can see is what a lot of people that play Path of Exile play as when they're using a bow. So you can see quite a lot of people play as the Trickster, Gladiator, Pathfinder, Deadeye. Okay, some people actually go with the Necromancer. Don't know how good or bad that is. Could be good, could be terrible. I feel like it's probably good because you still get 6 slots on the bow, but then you actually get a second item to get some extra stats on. Don't quite know how that works out, but it may well be good for all I know. But let's go with Trickster. Maybe there's a reason for that. And then what you can see is, as you can see down here, like you can see the percentage of things that people are going to have. Often what you'll find, so let's talk about Keystones. So Keystones are, let's go to Path of Exile here. These ornate looking nodes on this. I keep on calling it a skill tree. I'm sure lots of other people that are new to the game do as well. This is called the passives tree, right? And these generally drastically change things. Not necessarily good or bad either. So, for example, I like using Chaos Inoculation because I think it's fun. So Chaos Damage can generally penetrate shields straight away and start damaging health, which is why it's dangerous. But Chaos Inoculation can be completely immune to Chaos Damage, but only have 1 health. This is like if you want to play dangerous, but also, in my opinion, it's if you want to play with energy shield. So if you want to have a big massive shield and regenerate shield instead of health, this is pretty cool. It's just something I like doing. I can't recommend it to new players, even though I've done it as a new player. But who is this? Chase. Okay, I'm going to have to go in a second. Oh, I'm going to have to tell him in a second. But anyway. So, that is kind of how you can pick up a build for Path of Exile. So going back here then. You can narrow this down. So what you'll find is a lot of these top keystones, as we were just talking about a second ago, are likely to be from the Ascendances. So they're all going to be obvious ones. What you can also do though, obviously, is you can come down here. So phase Acrobatics, I know that's not an Ascendancy, for example. So we'll bring this up. We can go phased. That's probably enough. Oh, I spelled that wrong. It's there anyway. Oh, phase Acrobatics. I'll put D in. Look. And you can see what that is. You can see what it does look. So 30% chance to dodge spells. Pretty good. You obviously have to get 30% chance to dodge attack hits, 50% less armor, 30% less shield, 30% less chance to block spells and attack. So I feel like there's a bit of risk there, but it feels like you're getting very, very evasion heavy. Now the Trickster is very defensive. It's quite good at it actually, because you're essentially combining energy shield and evasion. So it's pretty good because you're going to have a really high energy shield. As you can see, the guy that I got this off has got something like 10,000. As well as having an insane amount of evasion as well, which is pretty good. And so that's why I kind of just go to the Poe Dot Ninja is just a good place to get an idea. And I would use this as inspiration, right? A lot of these people are going to be high-end players. These aren't always going to be beginner friendly, but it just gives you an idea as to a good place that you can go, things that you can do, or maybe just where to go next. What keystones are good for the thing that you want to do? Like if you want to use a bow, maybe like. I mean, if 45% of players using a bow are doing this, then this is probably a good idea. What else do we got? So Path of Ninja, Path of Building, concepts. So yeah, I spoke about loose concepts. So I just want to say again, if I haven't already said it, if you are good at, when you are trying to plan your character, try and plan around one thing. So if you want to be a person that throws fireballs, you need to be a person that throws fireballs. If you want to be a person that raises zombies, you need to be a person that raises zombies. It's unfortunate because there's like a million skills, and those skills can often be played more than one way. Like zombies themselves, you can play with zombies as bodyguards, which is what I've done. So I've got a thing called Meat Shield, so they all kind of stay around me and they deal more damage as enemies get close to me. You can make it so that they explode or when they're about to die, and then do things that make them die quicker. There are just insane amounts of things that you can do in this game. It's great. It just means that you need to pick a thread, go with the thread, and then if you want to kind of do something else, maybe wait till next league or do it, or just go through the game again. It's all perfectly fine. Next up then, so let's go with next thing to mention is guilds. Obviously, guilds are a good thing to have. I would recommend joining a guild. A little bit of shilling here. We have our own guild. So if you guys want to join us, again, the Discord address is in every single video description on my channel. So if you want a guild, obviously as players we always put like uniques and things that we don't need into the guild stash. So there are items and stuff in there if you guys want some loot. and there's stuff in there that nobody really needs. And it's always just nice to have someone to talk to. I probably shouldn't mention the guild leader too much because they'll hate me, but if you are polite to this person, he is amazing at crafting builds for you. If you give him an idea as to what you want to do, what you're liking, he's really, really good at crafting that for you. In fact, he crafted this for me, even though it was against his own judgment. Well, not this one specifically, but my actual build, which is right here, right, and it actually did pretty well. In fact, this build was good enough to get to the mapping stages of the game with no good gear at all. I didn't need anything specifically. And I've only just started needing to actually improve the gear on my character, so this actually did really, really well. So I'll be using it for future videos. The last thing I want to mention, I don't want to spend too much time on it because I don't think you'll be doing it as a beginner, and that is trading. Trading is done easiest through... Why have I got 6 best shits? That's just weird. And my kitten's decided it wants to play with my wires. Wow, what timing. I'm not starting 20 minutes again. So, as you have here, pathofexile.com/trade/search/harvest. And you can effectively narrow down what you want to trade for. Now, the thing to note is most people are going to trade for Chaos Orbs, and it's unlikely you're going to get any of those until quite into the game, especially enough to buy anything that you want. So, just know that this is here, and if you want to try and find something, then you can fill this out. Like, you could go with, I don't know, I want a one-handed weapon that's rare, and then I can hit search. Right, cool. This person wants a Jeweler's Orb for this one. Nice. It's as easy as whispering the player. Okay, so this copies a whisper message. Then you come into the game, and I'll try not to send this. You paste it into your chat bar, and then that will send you the request to trade. If they're online, it's almost instantaneous. It's great. They'll just invite you to their hideout usually, and then you can do the trade. It's very difficult to get scammed in this because you actually have to highlight over the item before you can trade it. So I'd say that's probably pretty good. So for now, that's going to be the end of part 1 of my Path of Exile guide. I'm unsure as to where to go next, what you guys want to see. I don't know if you guys want to see me do every map, every act. I don't know if you guys want me to just kind of go through some concepts as you come across them, such as maybe, I mean, I'm just going to be speaking into the wind at this point, but such as things maybe like the Labyrinth, which is its own thing. So it's going to be like challenges as you go through the game, which are what unlocked the ascendancy classes, which are the kind of upgrades to your classes. The cool thing about this is that as you complete the Labyrinth, these points that you put in here aren't linked to your level. This is essentially free buffs, and they're always really powerful. So yeah, let me know where I can improve. Ready for Path of Exile 2. If you guys have enjoyed this, let me know, and I'll catch you all in the next video. See you then.